Hi, I'm Colin Shantz, CEO of Copper Tree Solutions, and I'm here with our VCIO, Matthew Hutchinson, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 IT challenges in manufacturing. So Matthew, we work with a lot of manufacturing companies, and you're on the front lines working with these companies and seeing the challenges that they deal with. So what are the top 5 IT challenges for manufacturing companies today?
Thank you, Colin. I think that the primary challenge and the biggest one that they face is understanding the difficulties in how to collect and track good data regarding productions and processes. A lot of manufacturing businesses will start out with a sort of in the front of the mind understanding as to how long it takes to manufacture a product or what the production system looks like. And in reality, what they lack is hard data on what's really happening. So often assumptions are made. It takes about 3 hours to do task A or task B. And then when you begin tracking that, you may discover that it actually takes 4 hours or even better, 2 hours. And then you need to use that data to make adjustments. So the first problem we find is, how do I gather data in order to know what's happening in my production floor? The solution for this is sort of the universal umbrella term of a manufacturing execution system or an MES system. And that usually involves from the simple aspects of recording when a piece of work starts and a piece of work ends, with a small terminal set up at a workstation in a manufacturing facility. And as a worker, I begin a job when I begin a job, and I push a button to end a job when I'm finished doing my work. And then we have data on how long it took me to perform a particular task, all the way to very sophisticated algorithms that optimize machine usage. So if I have 15 machines in a building, each one performing a different task, obviously it's best if each one of these expensive pieces of machinery is running as many hours a day as possible. And sometimes with different processes for different product lines, it's difficult to organize that and make sure that we have minimum downtime. And sophisticated MES systems can help with that. So the first problem, I think, is how do I collect data? And the solution is a well-scaled MES system. I think the second challenge a lot of manufacturing businesses face when they say, great, this sounds good in theory, how do I begin, is existing legacy systems or existing management systems, ERP systems within the business may not have built-in MES components to them. So you may have vendor A's ERP system that doesn't necessarily have a good MES system to extend that data collection into the manufacturing process. The solution there, of course, is bridging between two systems. Replacing an existing ERP is a long task, but you can purchase standalone MES systems and bridge them through bots and integration tools and make sure that the data is actually being displayed and is visible, even if your current legacy system doesn't necessarily support MES systems.
I think one of the challenges with that too is just the legacy hardware that sometimes is involved. So if there's you could have a machine on a plant floor that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the IT capabilities in that machine are quite old and they haven't really stayed up to speed. So it can be challenging to integrate those. But ultimately, I think, like you said, there's solutions to that. Maybe a bridge needs to be built, but it is possible to get those connected as well.
Exactly, yeah. If you were choosing an ERP or a whole business management system from scratch and you were a manufacturer, one of your main deliverables as you searched for that software would be, what sort of manufacturing execution systems does it incorporate? If you've already got an ERP, then we work on ways with the client to make sure the data is captured properly, even if it's a legacy system. I think the next issue comes with some execution issues. Once you decide we need to gather manufacturing data, we need to leverage IT in our manufacturing environment in order to maximize efficiencies. Sometimes you have some physical issues. Very large buildings have challenges with wireless access, for example. When you deploy technology in a manufacturing sector, typically a lot of times you're relying on small handheld devices to begin work and end work. A lot of times, specifically if you're inventorying, you would rely on mobile devices. When you fill a manufacturing facility with raw materials or a distribution facility with inventory, that has a significant effect on your Wi-Fi. The signals that you thought were good when the building was empty are suddenly not good when the building is full of raw materials or full of product. So sometimes there's a physical challenge to implementing IT in a manufacturing environment. These are solvable as well. Modern mesh Wi-Fi systems will allow you to make sure you have complete coverage of your manufacturing facility to facilitate the use of this technology, these handheld devices, even though your building will be full of inventory or full of raw materials. So there's that challenge that needs to be overcome. And it's a fairly simple solution, but initially, if it's not properly planned, handheld devices are rolled out and then users report, well, it works over here, but not over there. And you can't record an inventory item if you're in the back corner. So these things need to be planned, and those are solvable issues in a manufacturing environment. Another couple of problems that are kind of near and dear, just acceptance of technology. A lot of times when you introduce technology in a manufacturing environment, you sometimes get sort of a natural resistance to why are you suddenly recording what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And a mistake some businesses make is introducing a manufacturing execution system to record the beginning and the ending of jobs without properly informing the staff that it's not an exercise in catching someone not working fast enough. It's an exercise in understanding what's really happening, getting data so that we can adjust processes if we need to, find efficiencies that are probably there, but without data, they're difficult for someone in an office separated from the environment to fully understand. So when you roll out technology in a manufacturing environment, one of the most critical early steps is explaining and making sure that supervisors and employees in that environment understand why we're doing this, what the goals are, what we're trying to achieve, and how it benefits the organization as a whole. So communication is fairly critical in rolling out any technology in a manufacturing environment. And lastly, I think one of the challenges a lot of executives face is, great, I have this data, what do I do with it? And that's really an early stage in executing an MES system. What problem are we trying to solve? And the problem can be simply, we have a lot of assumptions about how things move through our building, and we need some data to prove whether those assumptions are correct or not. Or a problem can be, we need to reduce our costs in a certain way, and we really don't know what to change until we have really accurate information as to what's happening in the manufacturing environment. So understanding what you're trying to do with the data is an important early step. And the problem, it manifests itself when you have data and no one looks at it, which can happen sometimes. You have sophisticated data sets, but without the tools to analyze them, the data is just sitting there and isn't really getting used. So the solution to that is proper planning during the initial execution phase of a manufacturing system, is understanding what we're trying to solve by introducing technology in that environment. It's very common for a manufacturing facility to have the day's work pre-staged programmatically from outside vendors who come in remotely and literally prep the manufacturing environment for today's work. And that's done by outside vendors who come in and perform that task literally every day in some extreme cases. And that's a serious security risk if you just open ports in your firewall and let people come in. So it's probably not top of mind when they roll out MES systems, but it's certainly top of our mind when someone says a vendor needs access to a machine, a cutting machine on a factory floor. Our first thought is, well, getting him access is easy. Getting him secure access is different. So finally, a security concern regarding introducing technology to manufacturing environments is it's quite common for sophisticated machines to require vendors, outside vendors from the organization, to directly connect to the machine and prep the machine for a production run, or to service the machine, or to gather data from the machine. And what that involves, of course, from an IT perspective, is granting the vendor outside access through the IT systems in order to touch the machine and program the machine, and doing that in a secure manner. So when we configure access to machine floors, required access by vendors to machines, we make sure that the connection is a secure VPN connection from the outside vendor into the environment. If you introduce an MES system and gain all the benefits of the visibility it gives you on manufacturing process, you can't sacrifice security in the name of efficiency.
Thanks for joining us today as we talk about the top 5 IT challenges in manufacturing. To learn more, please visit our website at coppertreesolutions.ca.